710 KNUS on the final day of the year, Wednesday, December 31st, 2025. I'm Peter Boyles and filling in for the fellows, and I will be back on Friday, and I'll do Saturday, and the guys are back on Monday morning. As always, joining me, Blake Olson. I don't know how I did radio before I met you.
Blake Olson.
Yeah.
Olson, the news and comment.
I get to work with you, man. It's like,
oh man,
I got to read something.
You are hilarious.
I got to read something to you. There was a story I'd read about Vincent the Chin Gigante. Remember that name? He was a mob boss in New York.
I think so, yeah.
And they mugged his mother. So somebody smarter than me, Willie King in 1996 mugged the Chin's mother. He was caught after a 4-block chase by police and told by detectives that he mugged the Chin's mother. Sentenced to 1.5 years in prison, served the rest of his sentence in protective custody.
Wow.
He was released, and he was not killed by the Chin. I had read that he disappeared, but how stupid can you be?
Exactly. What year was that?
1966.
That was 66. That was the year I was born. Wow.
Mug Vincent the Chin's mother. I'd always heard the story. It was like,
that's wild.
So we're going to do a tribute to Ben coming up, Ben Nighthorse Campbell. But I just want to, I mean, all the work that I've done filling in for the guys, you're a gift. And we spent our Christmas dinner together, and your wife is wonderful, and you're lucky.
That was awesome.
You're a lucky man. So,
yes, I am, and thank you.
Happy New Year, brother.
You too, man. Loved working with you, and Happy New Year to you. It's a great way to end the year with Pete the Great. Good Wednesday morning, 33 and sunny in Denver. Expecting a high of 58 today. News sponsored by Pastor Camp Heating and Air Conditioning at 303-777-1234. Pastor Camp to learn more about special savings opportunities on Lennox equipment. Our top story, there will be a couple of fireworks shows downtown Denver tonight around 9 o'clock. You'll be able to see them from around the metro area, I'm sure. The Avalanche in action also downtown tonight, and that game will be finishing up right about the time the fireworks are going off, if it doesn't go into overtime. So go Avs. DJT considering revoking the U.S. citizenship of Somalis convicted of fraud in Minnesota. State Governor Tim Walz, remember him? And the state, they've been under renewed scrutiny after independent journalist Nick Shirley has been crushing it, exposing abandoned daycares that have received millions of taxpayer money.
This is a top priority for the administration. The Department of Justice, as we speak, is continuing to execute search warrants and subpoenas. People will be in handcuffs as a result of the fraud that Governor Walz has allowed to occur for many, many years.
White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said the denuclearization process is something HHS is looking at right now. About around 90 people have been charged with fraud schemes in Minnesota so far. They were first uncovered by the Justice Department in 2022. Tampon Tim, he's pushing back, saying that he spent years cracking down on fraudsters. You mean like yourself? Wow. Former U.S. Senator Ben Nighthorse Campbell has passed away, obviously from Colorado. He's passed away at the age of 92, and Peter's going to talk about that this hour. DJT has vetoed Lauren Boebert's bill that would deliver fresh water to southeastern Colorado in the Arkansas Valley. 47 said, my administration is committed to preventing American taxpayers from funding expensive and unreliable policies. Boebert says that many of the 50,000 people affected by this enthusiastically voted for him in all three elections. And Boebert says she's going to continue fighting for the state and standing up for rural communities. Growing number of self-driving taxis in Texas are creating new headaches. Waymo, those cars have been spotted parking on residential streets for days at a time, freaking out nearby homeowners.
Instead of having a garage out there or paying for parking somewhere, they were just parking at the side of the street overnight waiting for the next fare.
Expert Phil Koopman says that this is not specific to Texas. It happens in every city where Waymo operates, including here in Colorado, I believe. The company says in a statement that they only use publicly available parking spaces between trips as to not add to the congestion. Koopman says this is not specific, once again, to Texas.
Basically be stashed waiting for the next business day without violating any parking rules.
Koopman says the company is basically stashing their cars waiting for a ride.
So you got to put them someplace, and at some point there's more cars than you have room for back at the car barn where you do the cleaning, maintenance, and charging.
Yeah, I guess so. Okay, so if you see the Waymo cars parked there for a couple days, but I'm sure they're going to be busy tonight. College football playoffs continue tonight. If you're looking for something to watch, Miami and Ohio State in the Cotton Bowl. All 3 games tomorrow are going to be outstanding. Ole Miss and Georgia. You got Indiana continuing their Cinderella season, trying to knock off Alabama, and Texas Tech and the Oregon Ducks. Alamo Bowl last night in overtime. USC leading TCU by 3.
Seals with a check down.
Then this happens.
Payne makes one tackle, scoots down the sideline, stays in bounds. No. Did he just end the game? Touchdown!
TCU wins it.
It's not over.
But then that's the referee.
The game is not over. The game is not over.
They were celebrating.
The game is not over. Payne, but you can hear in the background.
And TCU wins 30-27. Got to hear the referee.
The touchdown is good. The game is over. And now they say the touchdown is good.
So the official working hard last night, but it did finish with that touchdown. Pretty exciting game. Broncos back on the practice field today. Huge game on Sunday. They could wrap up the number 1 seed in the AFC against the Chargers with a victory. Nuggets without Nikola Jokic out for a month, hyperextended knee. They take on the Raptors tonight. The Blues at the Avs once again. 30 in Castle Pines, 31 in Westminster, 33 in Denver. You're waking up with Jeff and Billy, and this morning, Pete on New Year's Eve. In for the guys. Happy New Year. Blake Olson, News Talk 710 KNUS.
Your 710 5-day forecast. The Denver Metro going to have mostly sunny skies for this New Year's Eve. Highs going to be in the lower 60s with lows tonight in the middle and upper 30s as we ring in 2026. For New Year's Day, a little more cloud cover, slight chance for a late day shower. Otherwise, those clouds will stick around into Thursday night. Highs upper 50s with lows upper 30s, lower 60s Friday with mid 60s this weekend. Meteorologist Don Watzel in the 710 KNUS Weather Center.
Good morning, everyone. It's a Wednesday, December 31st. Of course, people say amateur night. It's New Year's Eve, 710 KNUS Denver's talk station. I received a text message yesterday. What an incredible life. We have lost Ben Nighthorse Campbell. Of course, he was Senator of Colorado. He was congressman. He was a judo player, and he was a member of a great motorcycle club. He was a brother of ours. Please welcome to the show. And they have been with us before, Vinny Terranova, who has been my idol for so many years and brought me into big Harley Davidsons many, many years ago. And then I ended up riding with Ben. And in Pueblo, Dr. Tom Reedy, who was as close to Ben as anyone. So both of you guys, Vinny's up in Sturgis. Hey, Prez, thanks, man, and welcome back down to Denver. Thanks for doing the show, and good morning to you.
Good morning, Peter.
Thanks, brother. And Doc Reedy in Pueblo. Doc, we spoke yesterday for quite a while. Good morning and welcome back up to Denver, Colorado, and thank you.
And thank you for doing this for Ben and all these fans.
Oh, please. Let's you begin, if you would, Tom. How long did you know Ben Campbell?
The senator.
Yeah.
I knew him back, I guess, a long time ago when he was a Democrat, and I would speak for the Republican candidate, and then Jim Poole, who would always speak for Ben on the Democratic candidate. And Ben and I became friends when he was a Democrat many, many years ago. And then they switched parties. And I can tell you the story behind that when you want to.
Well, Vince, where did you meet Senator Campbell? Way before when?
We started riding down to Ignacio, and through Tom, we met Ben, with motorcycles in common. He came to me one time and said, "Hey, Vinny," he was a good customer, him and Linda and his family, just great, great people. He came to me and says, "Hey, man, I have this big old ranch down in Ignacio, and, you've started a lot of runs, Red River and what have you." And he said, "Why don't we do a Four Corners run?" So I said, "Hell yeah, let's do it." And friendship blossomed. It went on for a couple of years. And then due to political issues, and he just couldn't be involved with too many civilian things. And there was a young man that had also helped us, and I'm sorry I forgot his name, but he lived down there, and he was very instrumental in helping us put it all together. And it went on for a few years. It was just awesome. And then we would end up at his most beautiful ranch, and we would just have such a good time, good food. A lot of the Ugly Brothers from our club would be there. Some notable, Larry Hagman, who played JR at Dallas, he was there. Peter Fonda, Sonny from the HAs, and just all good friends and people. And, back in the old days, it was a good time, just family and friends and good food and good bikes.
I remember when I first met him, he was in Congress, Tom, and remember, I don't know what year it was, but he got that semi, and he started hauling those big trees. Remember that? God.
Oh, yeah. He had a semi that he hauled stuff around, and he had an old a pipe organ that was on a trailer, and he'd do that in parades. And
Yes.
the engine of that truck was so clean you could eat off anything. He just kept it sparkling.
He started.
And that all went to...
Yeah.
Then it went to what he has a man cave down there that's phenomenal. Very few people have seen, but so much motorcycle paraphernalia and history. Phenomenal stuff. And I think the family's going to turn into a museum. I'm not sure. I kept trying to get it to Pueblo, but that's not working. But it's fabulous.
Ben would always say, "That's my someday bar."
Yeah.
Yeah. He tried to open a bar in Durango, but his wife said, "Nope, you're not going to, because I'll end up staying late and washing the dishes."
Hey, Tom, who remembers? I remember, because I remember talking to him about it. But didn't those guys try and jump him in the subway, and he cleaned everybody out? He was a tough guy.
He was the fifth man on our Olympic team for karate or black belt or whatever. He's the fifth man. He trained in Japan, had some good friends in Japan that he trained with. So he trained with the best.
Do you remember when they tried to jump him? And I said, "Well, there's a mistake." They tried to roll him for money, and he
cleaned their clock okay. And he always parked this little car that was full of empty pop bottles and water jugs and stuff, parking right there next to the Capitol, next to all these Cadillacs and Mercedes. I said, "Ben, this car's a bit of a mess." He says, "Yeah, but no one wants to steal my car."
No, we're talking with, of course, these are wonderful friends of mine, Dr. Tom Reedy, and, of course, the one, the only Vinny Terranova. Vince is up in Sturgis, and Tom's down in Pueblo. And we lost Ben Nighthorse Campbell. What a rich life. He was 92 years of age. You can't ask for more. But, I rode with him a lot, and this was before I was in the club. But he called me, and I was doing mornings on KHOW, and he was running for re-election. I think it was his last time. And I'm trying to even remember who he ran against and defeated, but he said, I'm gonna ride motorcycles to all these events. And his wife Linda and she rode her own bike, as Vinny pointed out. And so I rode with him, and I would do like, I'd introduce him. We go to like Elks clubs and Eagles and VFWs and everything, and everybody loved Ben when he walked in.
Right.
And he always got the round of applause, and then he would stand up, and what he did, he would talk for about 4 or 5 minutes, and then he would take questions. And he was just one of the guys, and
Yep, exactly.
he really was, Doc. And
for his, like in politics, when he was a senator, 37 of his bills became law. Well, our current senators, they managed to get 3.
Yeah.
When he's in the House, he got 3 that became law. So he knew what the people wanted, and he knew the people. He was the people. He wasn't these elitists like some people are. He was an everyday guy, but you didn't want to mess with him.
Oh no! Listen, I tell you what, he was a tough guy, and we talked about that. He was on the judo team. One time, he and I, we just sat and we were killing time and talking, and he had a rough childhood, didn't he, Tom?
Very, very, very. Yeah. His mother had tuberculosis, and she would never hold him as a baby because she was afraid he'd catch the disease from him. So
yeah,
he missed that motherly love, but he sure gave it out later on in life. A lot of people.
Yeah.
So super guy.
He told me that his father was alcoholic, and
yes, yep.
And it was just How do you? We'll start with Vinny. How do you best describe your relationship with Ben Campbell in his life?
Well, Ben was, you looked at him, you talked to him, Ben was what you got. In some of my early adventures, I needed some political help. And you know what? Ben said, just get me all the information. I'll do what I can. He didn't promise, he didn't guarantee, but you know what? He came through for me. I'll never forget that.
Oh, man.
It's nice. It's nice to talk to somebody and just, spare me the stories, okay? Mm-hmm. One time, Linda and Ben came riding in on their bikes to our shop, Rocky Mountain Harley Davidson, with a small entourage. And he presented me with the most beautiful picture, and it's still hanging in my shop up here at Pappy's. It's a picture of Ben in his full Native American garb on a most beautiful horse, and he looks so proud. I just, every time I pass that picture, I just stop and look at it. I go, wow. And what does that represent? Where do you stop? Where do you start? I mean, it's just America. I mean, you have to look at it. Now, I don't know if any of you have ever seen the portrait. It's just goddamn beautiful. How do you explain Ben? A good father, good friend, husband, a jeweler. His jewelry is unbelievable. Ben Nighthorse Campbell jewelry. If anybody hasn't seen any, it's all
Vince,
over.
Where he told me he learned to do that? This is like a Ben Campbell story. The Japanese sword makers in Japan. He said when he studied judo in Japan, and he said he watched the sword makers, and it's a spiritual art form, and that's what he brought for his jewelry. He told me that story. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. It is. His jewelry is very unique.
Tom?
And what he's recently done with the jewelry is the family has incorporated Ben Nighthorse jewelry to a corporation. So Ben is not alive to make the designs anymore, but all his designs now are patented. He has other jewelers making it because he hasn't been making it the last couple of years. He started his grandson helping out making the kind of stuff. But that's the kind of guy he was. If you ever go to Crazy Horse up by Mount Rushmore, they've got pictures of that poster, and I've got several of those posters that Vinny was just talking about. And years ago, I got him a horse, borrowed a horse for him to ride in the State Fair Parade in Pueblo. And he had all this Indian gear on. And he was running against Dottie Lamb at the time. She had hired this joker to spook Ben's horse wherever it was. So he spooked Ben's horse And it started bucking there right in the middle of the street, just like the biggest bucking horse you see at a rodeo. And Ben rode it out and handled it until the horse stopped. And I thought, oh, my God, I borrowed a horse, and I got the senator hurt. I was in trouble, I thought. But
I wouldn't want
he
to
just
be...
laughed it off. He said, just no problem. I can handle it. And he could.
Describe him, Tom, I mean, in his life and your relationship.
Well, he was a gentle giant, shall we say. And he told me many times that the only reason he could do everything that he did was because of his wife. He loved her to death. She ran the ranch. She ran the jewelry store. She ran the family because he was away for 40 years being a legislator, helping the rest of the country, cared about America. And she took care of everything else, and he loved her to death for that kind of stuff.
Well, she was
He
great.
didn't tell many people that, but we were very, very close, and he told me lots of stories. So
there weren't that many women that were riding big Harleys back then.
No, very few.
And she did.
Very few.
I don't know how he. I never asked him how he got her on a bike, but she rode. She was a rider. And
well, it's funny. I was down there at his house one time, and we're sitting in the kitchen, and Ben and I are having a glass of wine about dinner time, and I say, as an Indian, are you not supposed to drink this fire water? He starts laughing. And we're looking out the window, and there's his wife throwing hay to the cattle and the horses. I said, Ben, how come she's out there working? He says, we Indians don't do that kind of stuff. She's a cowgirl. That's her job.
I have a story in recovery, and I got in a group where I go, and there's a Native American guy, and we're really good friends, and he said, you guys, he's looking at me, being a white guy, he said, before you guys got here, he said, all we did was hunt and fish and make little Indians. And he said, and you thought you were going to improve on that. And that was Ben. Yeah. It's not going to get any better than that. Fellas, I know, I don't know when there's going to be a service or anything, or it just came down yesterday, but you talk about, the idea of a life well led is its own reward. And
you heard of Sand Creek Massacre many years ago.
Yeah, sure.
And he went to the dedication of that, and I helped him get dressed into all these Indian stuff. And people weren't allowed to walk in the forest where all this took place, but they allowed me to because I was with Ben. And you could feel the spirits down there that all these women and children were killed, and then that a teepee where all the chiefs went into. And I was the only white person that got to go in that teepee with the chiefs because Ben was such a good friend, and he was amazing, the things that he did, and helped people out everywhere and all the time. Just he thought of the common person 99% of the time, and that's what he took care of.
Vinny, last comment. I remember when I talked to him about Abu Ghraib prison, and we were doing radio together, and he said, I don't know how we let those people in the Army. That was a Ben Campbell. Vinny, final comment from you on Ben.
You know what? It's so proud that he didn't forget where he came from, his heritage, and he brought it forward in these crazy times. And whatever he did was to help everyone.
Agreed.
That's just great. He came from the beginning when this land wasn't ours, okay, and it still isn't ours. But he brought his heritage forward to represent them, be proud. And then, I don't want to get mushy, but Ben, even when him and Linda started riding, he did a lot of rides for motorcyclists around the country, and it led into bigger things. So all I can say is, Ben's not gone. He just rode away. And just thank you to his family. And it's sad, we're all passing through, like John Coit said. And anyway, you know what? It's a loss. It's sad, but a lot of great memories. And he's in that happy hunting ground in the sky.
Yesterday was just one of those days. Do you remember that bar Reavers, the restaurant Reavers, fellas? Do you remember? Yeah. The owner of Reavers passed, and then Pat McCaffrey. For those of you who were really doing the Irish thing, there was a bar in Glendale called O'Rourke's Cantina, and it was owned by and the true Irishman, Pat McCaffrey, and we lost Pat, and we lost Bill, and now Ben Nighthorse Campbell. That's, we're getting there. And Tom, we've talked about it. Vince, we've talked about it. But it was just to mark those three men because they themselves marked it. But Pat McCaffrey was a dear, great friend, and all these guys. Well, the two of them, McCaffrey and Campbell, they had tough childhoods. I mean, it wasn't easy. And
we had it easy, Peter.
No. But we ain't dead yet. We ain't dead yet, Prez.
They're not ready for us.
Prez, I'll see you on the 10th. Tom, we need to find out when the celebration of his life is and when everybody show up. Fair enough?
Well, it's not going to show up. It's going to be a private ceremony,
Okay.
and he'll be interned on his own property.
Fair enough.
Because it's on Indian land and on his ranch. And I believe when I was there last summer for his 92nd birthday, he showed me where he wanted to be buried, and I'm sure that's where he's going to be buried. So there's a few people invited. I'm going over for the funeral this weekend.
Love you both.
So,
all right. Thank you.
all right.
Hey, Prez, I'll call you.
Okay.
Tom, thanks. Prez, thanks.
Hey, happy holidays, brothers.
You too, man. Thank you,
Everybody
guys.
be
Take
good.
care, brother.
Bye. All right, 303-696-1971. If you were a rounder back in the day and you went to Reavers, and you might have known Bill. Bill passed, and I just heard that from Paul Quintana called me and said that Bill had passed, and I didn't know it. Pat McCaffrey, who owned O'Rourke's, and that was a joint, boy. I tell you what, that was St. Patrick's and O'Rourke's, and that Pat had passed away, and Ben. So I don't know what the man say. You ain't getting out of it. So 303-696-1971. We're talking in open lines on Man of the Year and Woman of the Year, Story of the Year, the Kennedy curse, and what are you doing tonight? My son just sent me a text. Said I'm laying low. He has learned much earlier than his old man ever did. So, what are you doing tonight? 303-696-1971. And if you want to say anything about Ben. But, boy, he was – we were talking about being tough. Ben was a tough man. I mean, to make the judo team. Whew, and he was the heavyweight on the judo team. And as the story went, that a couple of guys tried to take advantage of him in a subway in Washington, D.C., and he lit them up. He's a bad guy to grab. 710 KNUS Denver's Talk Station, Wednesday, December the 31st. It's final day of the year. And what have we learned? One more time, we do it again, right? It's going to be a really nice day today, and it looks like maybe we can ride motorcycles tomorrow. It's going to be high 50s, and that's warm enough for me. All right, 303-696-1971. Your calls lines are wide open. Wrap the show up, 710 KNUS. There you go. 9:34:26 before the end of the show on amateur night. 710 KNUS. The weather 61 the high today. 59. Happy New Year tomorrow. Go to the phones. We go to Dino, my man. You're on the radio show. Good morning.
Hey Peter, how you doing, pal? Happy New Year.
You
Hope
too,
you have
brother.
a good one coming up.
You
We
too.
survived another one.
Got him again.
You were mentioning a good point about amateur night. You forgot to mention St. Patty's Day. That's the other one.
No, that St. Patrick's Day is Green Halloween.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah, any orange, they'll jump on you. I would talk two quick things, I guess. You should, if you're going down, Arkansas has some decent motorcycle trails, but nothing like Colorado. But a lot of people like the riding down there. Anyway, I met by Nine Horse Campbell, of course. He was at our station. They were taping a debate one of the times he was running and all that. And he was old-fashioned gambler as well. He bet his opponent $1,000 against something on a check about. So whatever the subject matter was at the time, the guy went back down on that stuff. And the guys that he worked over, that tried to jump, one of them got their teeth kicked in pretty bad.
Oh, he did.
He really messed up one of them.
No,
real bad.
You're talking about when those guys tried to jump him. They saw
back in D.C.
They saw this old man, or I think he was an old man, in the subway tunnels in Washington, D.C. He and I talked about it, and they came at him. And that was the wrong thing to do, man.
Yeah, he was a national champion. He was not an Olympic medalist, but to make the team in the United States in those years, fantastic. He was in Tokyo, and then he went to.
That's right.
He stood there for a while, but yeah, all that
told
stuff.
me, the same thing we were talking earlier. Billy Conn, it happened to Billy, and it happened to Jack Dempsey. The guys They tried to take Dempsey down, yeah. And
you always told the story about Billy Conn. It's great. He recognized the bully once in his neighborhood. Beat
before a fight.
It was great.
Right before he was scheduled to fight. Let me reset this up. Pittsburgh, one of Pittsburgh's great fighters, and my dad claimed to have known him. All these Irish guys living together, but a guy named Billy Conn. They called him the Pittsburgh Kid.
The light heavyweight champ of the world.
He almost was. And
no, he was the light heavyweight champ. He was.
He was almost.
Almost heavy. He had it. Could have stood away from him. He'd been all right. Well, in that story, he left Pittsburgh, went into Chicago for training in the last 3 weeks.
Yep.
And he trained at Trafton's gym, the famous one. And my father was there at the gym. He was a pro fighter himself.
Went to the Garden.
He comes out. Yeah, that's right. When he was fighting at training for a while, he was charging $1 for a public. I mean, just to watch him train, and people paid it during the Depression, even coming out of the Depression, and they paid him. Yeah, they wanted to see him. Yeah, it was good.
Well, I used to see him. My brother boxed, and I tried to box, but my brother boxed. And when next time you and I get together, I just see you, or we talk off air.
I'll be up there.
I'll tell you a story that I told Billy's oldest son that, and I told a bunch of different guys off air, and when it's a meeting. But it was something, and we all boxed for a guy named Stan Simonski, the Polish Falcon, and the Falcon was really good friends with Billy, and so this is their careers are over, and we fought in the Hebrew Y. I've told people the big Y in Pittsburgh was not the Christian Y, it was the Hebrew Y. It was in Oakland. YMHA, and we learned stuff in there, and so you'd fight other teams. You fight the boys club, or you fight Harbor Lights, or different clubs, and so Billy came, and this wasn't my story; it's my brother's story, and he said that Stanley said, Billy, tell the boys what you think before you fight this guy. And Billy told him, and there's a bunch of 12 and 13-year-old kids in shock from what Billy said. Billy ran with the guy, and the guy's name was Joey Divins. And I'd see them. And Joey Divins was written up. Saga Magazine wrote an article entitled "The Toughest Barroom Brawler in America," Joey Divins. So we did it. I didn't have this show, but I talked to him about him when I was doing mornings on KHOW about Joey. And this is the second time I get a phone call. It's Joey's son. He said, "I heard you were talking about my dad." We had the best conversation.
Well, sure.
But Joey looked like a refrigerator with a raincoat on it, and I saw those guys in action. There on St. Patrick's Day, there was a place called Coins. And it was a Mick joint, and it was right by Forbes Field. And I saw Joey grab a guy, lift him up, and put him on a jukebox and told him to sit there. No, and that's all true story. Billy.
Well, they were telling all the guys. They thought they didn't think twice of doing it. They do anything they want. You know that the Civic Auditorium was there in those days too.
Oh, absolutely.
Kahn was good friends with Fritzy Zivic. Zivic fought a good friend of my father's, Milt Aaron. He fought him in Chicago and lost. Then he had a rematch in Pittsburgh, and Zivic. Zivic beat Milt Aaron. But yeah,
Fritzy's family members had a restaurant here in town for a while, and I was talking about Fritzy on the radio show. This was years ago, and I got this phone call, and they said we're related. We're like Fritzy's family. And I went out, and bigger than hell, we talked at great length about Fritzy. There were all these guys that came out of those. The best place to say that was Philadelphia, that really turned out guys. New York City turned out guys. Chicago turned out guys. Pittsburgh is a fight town, and
it's industrial. That's why.
Yeah, and Philly's a fight town. I mean, some places aren't fight towns, but they are. We were telling. I love talking to Dino. He knew some of these guys, but
yeah, I met Zale when I was 15, and when he would be my age, what he is now. He looked good for 65.
Tony Zale, finest piece of steel from Gary, Indiana.
Yeah, he fought at Trafton. He moved the and they used to ask him the proverbial question. He worked as a cinder snap for Illinois Steel when he moved to Chicago.
Was, yeah.
And they asked him, he was a trainer. He had Sam Pine, Art Winch was a trainer. But they said to him, "Why do you like training so much? Why do you enjoy fighting?" He said the obvious: beats working on the steel mill.
Oh yeah, listen, I
said, people don't realize when people say that it's true.
Oh, it's true. One of my great claims to fame in this somewhat storied life I've been lucky enough to live. I did a television show with Jake LaMotta. I mean, me and Jake sitting side by side, and he came in like some other dope doing a radio show, or a television show rather, and then in about 5 minutes he realized that I knew a hell of a lot of, I think, modestly he says, about prize fighting, and especially him and Sugar and Tony Zale, and I knew about the Fox fight. I knew about him going in the tank. I knew, all that kind of stuff, and about Frankie Carbo, who ran the mob for, I think he was a Gambino and ran New York and all this kind of stuff. We talked, I mean, and first of all, I mean, I can't even imagine anybody getting in with him and entangling, but he said, he told jokes, and he said, I asked him about, him and Rock Graciano, and I said, I think I've told this story many times, but he said, me and
they
Rock.
were sophisticated thieves.
He said, we were educated. We was educated thieves. We only stole things what begin with the letter A.
Hey.
And he said, a bicycle. a quart of milk.
A car, a truck, a payroll. You always say all those ones. Yeah. Well, I personally think, though, Sir Dan died in the plane crash. Sir Dan would have beat him in a rematch.
That's
but he was
the
a little
curse.
tough. But that's like, he hit that. And he said that whole thing. My father always told me. He goes, Sir Dan said when he was flying back, he goes, "I'm going to get my middleweight title back or die trying."
Well,
unfortunately, dies trying. Yeah.
We're talking about curses this morning. That was the middleweight curse.
There
was a middleweight curse, and
Sir Dan beat Zale for the title. That's when Zale ended up retiring.
Sir Dan they were going to take the belt out of the United States, which is unheard of back then, and they weren't going to let that happen. But I remember that's when who was it? Ingemar Johansson
beats later in years, but
beats Floyd Patterson.
They thought he'd take back to Sweden and never come back. Yeah, they obviously talked about that stuff.
But he came back, and Floyd dropped him, and then Floyd hooks into a really bad man named Sonny Liston.
He brutalized. He's too big. Liston was too big for him, if you look at the body types. But yeah,
Floyd.
Switching real.
Sure.
Wait. Real quick. You had a show earlier. I tried to get the podcast. Adam told me it's on there. I'll listen. I was busy down here doing stuff in the gym and whatnot. That Bridget Bardot, that was sad.
Oh, man.
She was their version of Marilyn Monroe through Western Europe. And for them to talk bad about her, she came right out. They jailed her for saying her opinion about 10 years ago.
Sure.
Remember that? The Muslim culture is screwing up the Roman Catholic culture of France. They're trying to shove the Quran down us. And boom, they catered towards the Muslim group. Well, and their government put her in the joint for a while.
Let me reset. We got a break? No, let me reset the question. When Bridget Bardot was like 91 when she passed, and I remember she was my first attention span, and there wasn't any trailers on television and that kind of stuff, but they bought ads in the Pittsburgh papers, and the film was "And God Created Woman," and it was like
She was 20 years old when she did that. Yeah.
she was, and it was like 1954, 55, whatever it was, and I went, wait a minute, and then later that summer was First Kiss, and I kissed a girl, and like I said, anybody that thinks that you got a choice, that's crazy, but.
Well, that or else that the other woman all the time was Sophia Loren was a big those days, and Gina Lola Brigida.
I brought her up. I was the guy that brought Gina up, and then the guy started firing in here but it was like, it was how old you are versus who was your sex symbol.
Well, two of the bigger, classier ones, of course, you said obvious. I'm sure you're talking about listening to it, but Raquel and Anne Margaret.
But they came.
What Anne Margaret had to go through when she fell down at Las Vegas and they reconstructed her body, she's a tough woman.
Her and Elvis.
That was a tough.
And then, remember she made that movie CC and Company and Joe Namath.
That was Joe Namath. Oh, it's a great movie.
Great. It's a sleeper. Joe Namath is an outlaw biker. And
he goes in. Remember the opening scene? He just goes into the grocery store, starts fixing himself all this food. Pays for a pack of gum and 10 cents.
I tell you, I met him, man. That was that's a highlight for me too, to meet Joe.
They built him just for that movie specifically because he was a Super Bowl champion at the time. But Anne Margaret, it's beyond knockouts.
She was the female Elvis. She was.
Oh yeah.
I mean, and
no
her
question.
Her and Elvis, I guess that must have been.
And Bridget, of course, was a trendsetter. She did when she went to Saint Tropez. She just decided to be nude one day, the topless, and that started the entire topless beach craze throughout Europe.
So there was something they changed, like some stiff in Pittsburgh, but boy, they had impact on me somewhere. I was going like, damn man, look at Bridget Bardot, and now she's gone.
Well, you're the greatest.
Happy New
Year.
You're
the greatest. Happy New Year too. Have a great year. Talk to you soon.
Gotcha.
Later.
Everybody, now we got to turn, right? We got to do a turnaround. Okay, it's Wednesday, and again, it is amateur night. It's what you going to do but we lost the Hulk this year. When Hulkamania is running wild, the Hulk is gone. 61 to high, 59 tomorrow, and 60 on Friday, right after this. They are swearing in the socialist mayor in New York just in time for 2026. That'll be part of Friday's show. I get to come back and do it again. 710 KNUS, I'm Peter Boyles. Thanks for letting us do this last couple of days. And Jeff and Bill are back on Monday. I'll be here Friday morning and then back on Saturday. Another new year. It's amazing how they just keep coming at us and we keep staying here doing it. But time to put the hearing aids back in, take off the reading glasses, and think about firing the bike up. So all that's good stuff. Ben Campbell will be missed. He was a really good man. He was a decent guy, and we rode together, and he talked to me and told me stories. Pat McCaffrey at O'Rourke's, wow. We showed him. And then losing at Reavers, and Bill's gone, and you think about all the stuff that's going on. And let me read something to you. Peter, the Longmont Times-Call newspaper is unveiling every day the top area stories of the year. Number 2 on the list is the reopening of Winchell's Donut on Main Street. It's been closed for 5 years after a car crashed into it and damaged the structure. Exciting times in Longmont, per usual. That's a good way to go out. We had a good show, and a lot of people responding on the Kennedy curse. And is it real? Well, again, you let stuff like that go. Friday night, we'll have to get back up early again on Saturday morning, Adam, and do it again. No rest for the weary. It is a new year, and all of us, I guess, and I'm sure this is true with a lot of people listening, you hit that point, and I couldn't wait to go out on New Year's. Remember that, man? Wow. Let's go and dress up and go out and show them. And now it's like, hey, have a nice dinner early. Count your blessings instead of sheep. You are listening to the luckiest man that ever lived. Believe me when I tell you. All right, everybody, that's it. Thanks, Adam, and thanks, Kelly Michaels, and I'll see you Friday morning, and we'll do it one more time, 6 a.m., and then Saturday, then the guys come back and take the con. Take care of yourselves, everybody.